I've already given you an extensive definition and description of intellectual giftedness. I did that in two of my first videos I shot back in 2017. So I'm sure you already know what it means to be gifted. I'm actually sure you knew what it meant long before you watched any video about it or read any article on the matter. If you're gifted, I believe you feel within yourself what intellectual giftedness means. However, I found Jennifer Harvey Salin's article on what it means to be intellectually gifted. I think it's so great, I want to share it with you. At the end of the video, I have a question for you. But first, let me tell you how Inner Gifted's founding director, Jennifer Harvey Salin, defines intellectual giftedness. She uses either intellectually gifted people, or the pronoun they in her article to refer to intellectually gifted people. But I decided to turn all of that into we as it makes it more personal. So let's get started. What is intellectual giftedness according to Jennifer Harvey Salin? On her website, she writes that we, the intellectually gifted, represent a small minority of the overall population. Opinions differ, but research suggests somewhere below 5%, and this means that we have to face the common challenges of minority development throughout our lives. Academically, professionally, and socially speaking, we often don't follow the conventional paths laid out by the majority. By the time we are adults, we often have studied, formally and or self-directed, many divergent subjects and may have frequently changed jobs because once the challenge of learning a role turns to routine, we feel bored and underengaged. We may already have had 3 careers at the age of 30, or may never really have settled down on any career. Or we did settle down and feel like we have sold out and are struggling. Socially, we may look for and try to create complexity in our relationships and continue to be disappointed or see ourselves or others as faulty because we cannot seem to get the full spectrum of our intellectual and emotional needs met, no matter how hard we try. And this is only mentioning the challenges as we see them from our adult's point of view. These all extend, in their own way, to what our challenges were as gifted children. The issue is that we love exploration, not routine, and we need a lot more intellectual stimulation than is common. For a lot of people, traditional roles, rules, and expectations feel good and create a sense of safety, but many, if not all of us gifted people feel imprisoned by routine, tradition, and rule-based contexts. Without the room to try out different roles, stretch and question the rules, be creative, and go beyond traditional expectations and limits, we often feel uncomfortable, misunderstood, imprisoned, suffocated, and at the extreme, even existentially panicked. And without adequate intellectual stimulation and depth in our relationships, we may feel ourselves going in a kind of hibernation or shutdown. Or conversely, go into a kind of overdrive, trying to get our needs met in contexts and with people who are unable to meet them adequately. How do we intellectually gifted see ourselves? What's difficult about all of this is that many of us don't want to see ourselves as gifted because it sounds like a question of superiority, and we don't want to believe or feel we are better than others. But Jennifer Harvey Sallin says that while it's healthy not to see oneself as special and therefore superior, it's also necessary to recognize and honor the way our minds work and when our level of complexity is different than the norm. Those who are more complex than the norm but refuse to believe it risk looking for high complexity in friendships, relationships, discussions, collaborations, roles, and systems when it's simply not there. And they risk being disillusioned and blaming themselves or others for the failure. They also risk overwhelming non-gifted people with their complexity and once again blaming themselves or others for the mismatch. Additionally, if we are unaware of our authentic academic and professional needs and try to follow traditional academic or professional goals and routines, we may exhaust teachers, classmates, co-workers, bosses, and even family and friends with our chronic dissatisfaction and need for challenge and stimulation. If we are unusually sensitive, we may be bullied regarding our extreme empathy, extreme sense of justice, and inability to go with the flow, or just accept things the way they are, problems and all. Or may even be aware of all of the potential ways we could help others and become a sort of savior, losing ourselves in cleaning up other people's messes. Another common fear we have is that if we admit our difference from others, it'll ruin our relationships with our non-gifted family and friends, or somehow jeopardize our place in the non-gifted dominant world. Jennifer says it won't. It will simply help us to communicate more effectively, understand others in our lives with more ease, and realize where and with whom we can get our various gifted specific and non-gifted specific needs met. The essential point is that the better we understand our own minds and functioning, the better we can negotiate the necessary conditions for our thriving. That process takes radical self-honesty. Denial about one's giftedness can be a challenging aspect to overcome, but it is worth the work, as it allows us to come into a real relationship with ourselves and with the world and others around us, allowing us to heal old wounds of unmet needs and thus redirect the use of our intelligence toward authentic, holistic, and interdependent relating, which allows us to meet our needs while honoring the limits of others. Of course, many of us have also known people who are uncommonly intelligent and love to flaunt that fact and use it to embarrass, manipulate, or otherwise humiliate others who are less cognitively endowed. These people often have issues to work through as well, as somewhere along the way they learn to use their giftedness as a weapon against others, and in turn, against themselves. Their relationships suffer, and their disconnection, though different in cause from someone who is in giftedness denial, is very real. Finally, giftedness doesn't result in automatic success. That's what a lot of people think. As with everyone and everything, the conditions must be right for flourishing. When our complexity is supported and managed well, we have the proper social mirroring and the social and cultural context is ripe, we can do amazing things. When that same complexity is not managed well and not supported, and that same complexity is just neglected, then that same complexity can result in underperformance and failure throughout life. Isn't that sad? Did you also feel that that description of giftedness was in many ways about you? I know I sure did. What does giftedness mean to you though? I'd really like to know. Please share what giftedness means to you in the comment section below so we can get a conversation going. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and leave any kind of comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel and watch this series from the start. I don't know exactly in how many weeks, but I will be back with a new video in this series on intellectual giftedness. Till then, I only want to say 3 things. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I will see you back in my next video. Bye.